Yes, sir. We are live. Nothing but facts podcast. We are doing something different. We are going live, starting my YouTube channel this week. So I have my live going right here from TikTok, and I'm also talking right here to my webcam. We had a great topic today with uh, the world of college football. As we know, the world of college football is crazy. Remember, as you guys don't know, I am going live right now on TikTok and also recording on my webcam. So if I'm looking away, I'm talking to you guys. So I'll be multitasking and answering some questions here. But we are going to be talking about the entire Ohio State the Ohio State quarterback room situation has finally been named. Ryan Day has named Julian Sayin the starter for week 1 against Texas, 12 days away. He came out today and said, hey, my job is to make sure that we're prepared, and the best way possible moving forward is to name a starter. So they went ahead and named Julian Sayin as their week 1 starter. A lot of optimism. If you talk to a lot of people in Columbus, Ohio, they believe that Julian Sayin was going to win this job. Ultimately, in the spring, it was his job to lose. And for what it's worth, I think Ohio State should be optimistic regarding this move for Julian Sayin, right? There were a lot of question marks last year when Will Howard came in. Was he good enough to lead this team to a national championship? I also was wrong about, Will Howard and his ability. And I think maybe before now, CJ Stroud was the last time where we saw a young player that we haven't really seen much about. And we haven't seen much about Julian Sayin on the field. We don't know what he looks like outside of the cut-ups we've seen from the spring and what we saw and what we're hearing and things of those nature. But when we talk about it, Julian Sayin, when he came out of high school, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. When he went out of high school, Julian Sayin was the real deal, right? When Julian Sayin came out of high school, Julian Sayin was the real deal. And we got to look at the numbers, right? 5-star kid, number 1 quarterback coming out of California. This dude was legit. 6'1", 203 pounds. And you look at some of the reviews we see from the guys on 247, Greg Biggins, Sayin had a strong senior year, developed his game in multiple areas, coming off an MVP of performance at the Elite 11. The Elite 11 is one of the best competitions for quarterbacks. And his confidence was sky high. It showed in his play. Physically, he looked more developed and stronger in his upper body. He always had an advanced feel for the position with an extremely high football IQ. He's an accurate passer, poised, and understands timing and anticipation, something that is so important in the Ohio State offense. You must have timing and you must have anticipation, right? We saw what happened when Kyle McCord didn't have timing. We saw what happened. They didn't get to the college football playoffs, right? They lost 3 games that year. They lost, I think, in the Cotton Bowl. They lost to Michigan, and they lost to somebody else in the regular season. I can't remember. But when you look at what we see here that is written about Julian Sayin, it's accurate. He's an accurate passer, poised, understands timing and anticipation. His physical tools in terms of his size and arm strength took a jump this year, and he played with a lot more twitch in his game. His athleticism has always been an underrated part of his game, and this year we saw him take off and run more and showed the ability to easily elude pass rushers and extend plays. He's a ready player with a high football IQ and could be most ready to play early quarterback in this year's class. And this was class of 2024. This was a pretty good class, I would say, right? This was a pretty deep quarterback class, right? Offers from Alabama, Arizona, Auburn, Florida, right? He was legit. He was legit. Carlsbad High School. This dude was the real deal. This dude was the real deal. I mean, he had a 90. I mean, he almost had a 1. This dude was the real deal. So I understand why there's some people in Ohio State talking about, hey, we don't know what we're getting. This is a wild card, XYZ, etc. But the proof is in the pudding. There was a reason why he was ranked the #1 quarterback in the state of California. There's a reason why he was ranked #1. And California is not a place where quarterbacks, it's not hard to find good quarterbacks in California. And he was the #1. So I'm really interested to seeing how this moves forward. And we have to remember, right? He wasn't the only quarterback in this situation, in this quarterback battle. Lincoln Kingholz was right behind him. Lincoln Kingholz went to T.F. Riggs High School in South Dakota. #1 quarterback in South Dakota. I understand people are going to look at me, he played in South Dakota. He ain't playing nobody, yada, yada, yada. But this dude was legit. You turn the film on, this dude can play in Texas. This dude can play in California. He can play in Georgia. He can play in Florida. He can play in all those big schools, all those big states. He could play with them. 6'3", 207. He can play with them. He can play with them. Alan True, one of the best analysts out there, athletic prospect who can make plays with his feet, uses the athleticism to navigate that pocket and elude the rush, can run, but will look to throw when he breaks contain, throws with an excellent touch drop backs into a bucket, gives his receivers opportunity to make the plays on the ball with their hands, leads them away from coverages on vertical routes and corner routes, productive in high school and saw some good programs, but did not face many teams with D1 prospects in the secondary, so he will have to adjust to the speed and windows shrinking quicker in college. Has a good but not arm strength and velocity, is going to feel more in college and add some of that, though. Far from a finished product, but has a lot of good developmental skills. Is a gamer, and mobility makes him fit well with today's offense. Should develop into a Power 5 starter and a pro. For my people live on TikTok, we're talking about Julian Sayin becoming the starter at Ohio State. Shout out to everyone in the live. So we have something here with Lincoln Kingholz. He's not trash. He's legit. Lincoln Kingholz is legit from what I'm reading. And we have to remember Ryan Day, the Ohio State University, what they do, how they get guys, how they develop guys, it's different. It's different. I don't know what program outside of I don't want to say a program, but I'd say a person. I don't know another program that develops quarterbacks at the collegiate level like the Ohio State. It's really good. Kyle McCord, right? I mean, he was the only outlier, I think, out of that group. Will Howard had a phenomenal year last year. Will Howard had an unbelievable year last year, right? Same thing with C.J. Stroud. We can say the same thing with C.J. Stroud. Dwayne Haskins, God rest his soul. Unbelievable when he was there. Led the Big Ten in passing. So, right, this dude, Lincoln Kingholz, and from everything you read during this battle, he was in the heat of it. He was in the heat of it. This came down to maybe one or two scrimmages, maybe to the second scrimmage, and it came down to it. Shout out to everyone on TikTok right now. We are talking about Julian Sayin, who is starting right now he's named the week 1 starter for Ohio State. Julian Sayin named the week 1 starter for Ohio State. They play August 30th. We know it's going to be a big time game. If I didn't mention before, we are starting my YouTube channel. It's my first video on my YouTube channel, so be on the lookout. TikTok, but we are recording this and we're going to put this out there. So, like I said, Julian Sayin, right? He didn't play much. He came in when he got into college. He first went to Alabama, and not much. 41.7% completion rating, 84 passing yards, 5 of 12 this year. We didn't see much. From Julian Sayin, and I get it, and I get why some people are like, well, we don't know, but we have to remember we got to remember the dogs in the race. I need everyone at Columbus to just breathe a little bit. I need everyone watching the live, if you're an Ohio State fan, I need you to breathe a little bit. Because this weaponry that I'm looking at here is unreal. Is unreal. The weaponry that I'm looking at here is unreal. Right? I'm looking at Jeremiah Smith. I'm looking at Carnell Tate. I'm looking at Brandon Ennis. These are all Ferraris. They can go for 6 catches, 105 any game. Any game. Pick your poison. You want Brandon Ennis? Pick your poison. You want Carnell Tate? Pick your poison. You want Jeremiah Smith? Pick your poison. That's how good this Ohio State wide receiver room is. They're in my opinion, the best in the country. And it's going to come down to them. It's going to come down to the playmakers. Because I think just like last year, I'm not going to say Will Howard didn't get them to the college football playoff, but it was the playmakers. It was Travion Henderson going 92 yards. It was Jeremiah Smith, catching the ball in one-on-one coverage in the national championship game on 3rd and 13, I believe. It's these playmakers right here that is going to be the reason why Julian Sayin is a productive Ohio State quarterback. And I'm looking forward to it. I was really high on him coming out of high school. When he got to Alabama, I thought that was it. I was like, okay, Bama's set. They got their guy, but obviously he was a Nick Saban guy. You could tell he was a Nick Saban guy, and him and Caleb Downs, they ended up going to Ohio State. They said, hey, we're good. We're not going to we want to play. We came here to play with Coach Saban, and Coach Saban is no longer here. So shout out everyone on TikTok as well. So as much as we want to say it, as much as we want to believe that Julian Sayin is not going to be successful this year, he's going to be successful. But I also want to put this in the air. He's right behind him. Lincoln Kienholz is right behind him. So if Julian Sayin, for any reason, and I talked about this today on TikTok, I said, hey, this might have been reasoning for Brian Day to say, hey, you know what? Let's put Julian Sayin out there, and we actually have a plan just in case, a fallout plan just in case, and we'll have Lincoln Kienholz as our guy. Maybe Lincoln Kienholz is their guy. Maybe this is just smoke and mirrors, and not to say it's a fail plan, but maybe this is just a way of Ryan Day and Brian Hartline saying, hey, you know what? We think maybe Lincoln Kienholz is our guy, but we want Julian Sayin to show us what he has out there first. We've seen this happen before, right? We've seen these type of things happen when a guy's named the starter. It was a deep quarterback battle. It got to the heat. It got heat in the, got late in camp. It was 1A, 1B. They went one way. They kind of let the thing play out during the games, and it changed. He was a stud in Cali, #1 quarterback coming out of California. Shout out Don Davis. He was the #1 quarterback coming out of California. So I don't want anyone in Ohio, in Columbus to think that Lincoln Kienholz is not going to step on the field this year. You are 100%. You might even see him week 1 against Texas. They might have some packages for Lincoln Kienholz at 6'3". I think he's about 225 now. I think he's put on about 15 pounds since he's been at Ohio State. So you have a dynamic athlete in Lincoln Kienholz. You have a pocket passer in Julian Sayin. You have options. If you're Ryan Day, if you're Brian Hartline, if you're whoever in that offensive room, you got options. You are good. And I'm happy that this is how it's gone. I'm happy this is how it's gone. Let's talk about Ohio State's schedule. Right? Week 1, we know who they play. Week 1, they're playing Texas. Texas is coming to town. It's a rematch of the Cotton Bowl. High noon kickoff is going to be there. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere on Fox. And I'm more interested in the response for Ohio State. I'm interested in how do they respond? You're at home, right? They're probably going to unveil the national trophy, national championship banner. They're probably going to whatever rings, whatever, all that stuff. How you respond? How you going to respond? How you going to respond? That's what I want to see Ohio State do. I want to see them respond, right? They've been talked about all preseason. Jeremiah Smith. We've been hearing Ryan Day, blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the third. Whatever. Well, Texas is coming to town on August 30th, right? Steve Sarkisian, if you don't think Steve Sarkisian is motivated to play on that game August 30th, you must be out of your mind. If you don't think Steve Sarkisian and Texas, after how that game played out last year in Dallas, remember that game was in Dallas. That game was in Texas. If you don't think Steve Sarkisian will have Texas ready to play 12 days from now, you are highly mistaken. They are going to be ready. That defense is going to be ready. Colin Simmons is going to be ready. Anthony Hill Jr. is going to be ready. Those guys are hungry. Those guys want it. They want to hit Julian Sayin. They want to hit Sayin. They want to hit keyholes. They want to knock them out. They want to knock them out the game. Trust me. It's not sweet. So I've been picking Texas to win week one. I think Texas is going to win week one. I'm very positive. I'm very high on Texas. I think Texas is going to end up winning week one. And I wouldn't be crazy if that happened, because I think going in, I think Texas has been sure this entire offseason on who their quarterback was going to be. They knew it was going to be Arch, right? And they've gone all in on that. There was no quarterback battle. There was no questions on who's going to be this, who's going to be that. It's been Arch. It's been Arch since December 28th. Since Quinn took that sack against oh my goodness, against who we're talking about. When Quinn took that sack and fumbled the ball, that's when the Arch Manning era began. So I'm very much interested into seeing how Ohio State responds week one. I'm very much interested. I think Texas is going to win. I think Texas is, and I say Texas is going to win because of the track record of what Steve Sarkisian has done. Steve Sarkisian has done an unbelievable job with developing quarterbacks and having quarterbacks ready to play. Now, I know everyone's going to say, yeah, we haven't seen much of Arch. We haven't seen much of Arch Manning, blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the third. It's all nonsense. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Okay, so we're looking at, and I think another game people should look at. Moving on from the Texas game, Grambling State, they're going to blow the doors off of Grambling State. Ohio, they're going to win. I'm looking at these three games right here for Ohio State. I'm looking at Washington, against Minnesota, and against Illinois. I'm looking at those three games right now for Ohio State. I'm looking at Washington, against Minnesota, against Illinois. I have a close friend who's an Ohio State fan. I talked to him. I said, hey, just looking at the schedule, let's just say you guys win week one. I think 11-1, 10-2 is very realistic for Ohio State. And 10-2 gets you in the playoffs for a Big Ten team. 10-2 with the Big Ten championship, you're in the first round. You're having a first round bye. You're having a first round bye. If you're Ohio State, a 10-2 loss team, and you get to the Big Ten championship and you win, you're going to have a first round bye. But where those losses occur, where those losses happen, is a very, very it's a big question. It's a big question. This stretch of the schedule right here, before I even show you the next part, at Washington, against Minnesota, against Illinois, those are going to be physical games. And I'm not about to sit here and say Ohio State does not have the skill talent. They don't have the cars to get it done. They have the cars to get it done. I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting the firepower that's in the tank. I'm not doubting any of that. All I'm saying is these are some physical games. Jed Fish is the head coach of Washington, right? How they finished last year. Everyone's talking about DeMond Williams getting Ohio State this early in the season on the road. You get Ohio State this early at home. I've never been to Husky Field. I've never been to Husky Stadium, but from what I see, from what I hear, from what I've watched, that place will get loud. Husky Stadium will get loud. They get loud in there. They get rowdy. I 100% believe this is going to be a night game. I don't know. TBA, this is going to be a night game. It's going to be on Peacock probably. 7:30 on Peacock probably. Could be wrong. I don't know. I could be wrong because I think Penn State is playing Oregon on this day. So I think I could be wrong. Then you got against Minnesota. Next game, Minnesota. Minnesota comes to town. Darius Taylor, big back. One of the best productive backs in the Big Ten. You're going against Coy Parrish, right? Dynamic player, all these things. Then you go on the road against Illinois. Illinois is my sleeper team in the Big Ten. I think Illinois is a team that some people say they're overrated. Some people say they're this. I think Illinois is going to be a solid football team in the Big Ten. They're an 8-9-win football team. 9-win potentially. How those 9 wins, where those 9 wins come from. 9 wins in the Big Ten, you probably are going to get in the playoffs. 8 wins, probably not. 8 wins, probably not. But Illinois is going to be a physical game. Illinois is going to be a physical game. Trust me, it is. How Brett Bielema coaches Illinois football, they're a physical football team. Their O-line, how they run the football, they're going to bleed the clock. They're just going to make the game nasty. And in October, second week of October, and then you have Penn State at home. I skip Wisconsin because I'm not high on Wisconsin this year. I'm not high on them. Not high on Wisconsin. I am not high on Wisconsin. Shout out to everyone joining my TikTok live. Like I said before, I'm going on TikTok live as well. We are dropping these videos on YouTube, my YouTube channel. That's going to be the first video. So look out for that. Right. Penn State, that might be your toughest game of the season. That might be after Texas, after Washington, Illinois, and then you go on the road against Wisconsin. So you're going in 4 games, you're going on the road 3 times. And Penn State, luckily, Ohio State is going to have a bye after that Wisconsin game. Ohio State is going to have a bye after the Wisconsin game. So they're going to have Penn State's going to, they're going to be rested and ready for Penn State, but that's a grueling stretch. That's a grueling stretch right there. 4 games, 3 or 4 games on the road at Washington, at Illinois, at Wisconsin. That's Big Ten football. That's Big Ten football right there. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. Purdue's trash. Then you have UCLA coming in, right? UCLA, Nico Iamaleava, their quarterback, right? He's played in Ohio Stadium before. He's played in Columbus. He played last year with Tennessee in the playoff game. I mean, it wasn't what he wanted the result to be, but he's been there. Deshaun Foster, what they've got going on at UCLA, that should be an interesting game, November 15th. That should be an interesting game. I know everyone writes them on the paper for the championship, right? Paper means nothing. Paper means nothing. This stuff is won on the field. So then you're going against Rutgers and then on the road against Michigan. So Washington, Illinois, Michigan. I mean, those are some heavy hitting games. Those are some heavy impact Road games. So to say all of this, I say this. I think Ohio State, I think they knew what they wanted. I think they wanted Julian Sayin to win the job. It was his to lose, right? It was his to lose. Everyone knew it was his job to lose. And I think they're in a good position going in. Like I said before, I have Texas winning week 1. I'm not changing that. I have Texas winning week 1. I think, like I said before, I think Steve Sarkisian, for what it's worth, Steve Sarkisian is the master planner. This guy right here, he's going to have Texas ready to go on August 30th. I've been around the program. Where's he at? That's not Steve. I've been around the program. I've been in Austin. I've been around Texas. I've been around Texas football. This guy is going to have his guys ready to play. They're going to be ready. They're going to be ready. They're going to be ready to play. They're going to be ready to play. He's going to have his guys ready to play. This guy will have Texas ready to play. And that's not saying Ohio State's not going to have a good season, right? Losing against Texas doesn't mean you're going to have a bad season. You won't. But I know for how they lost that game last year, how Texas lost that game last year in Dallas, that left a bad taste in their mouth. When they saw Quinn lose that ball, when they saw Quinn Ewers lose that ball, when Jackson Sawyer came on the right side and lost that ball, that was it. That was it. That was the start of the Arch Manning era right there. Like I said before. This play right here, Arch Manning era. That kicked it off. So when I say, I'm not saying that Ohio State's not going to be in this game, but I just trust this guy. I trust him more than Ryan Day. I do. I trust Steve Sarkisian more than Ryan Day. It's no shot at Ryan Day. And I know people are going to look at me crazy. It's not biased because I live in Texas. It's not biased because I've been around the program. It's not any of that. I just believe I trust in this guy more. We'll see what happens. A lot of time left to be played. A lot of football left. A lot of time left before we get some real football. But we'll see what happens. 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 I want to thank everyone for joining this live. Thank you guys for joining on TikTok. And thank you. This is my first YouTube video on my YouTube channel. I'm so grateful. Thank you guys. Whoever watches this video, this is the start of something crazy. Be a part of this journey. You guys will love this. This is going to be the best, unfiltered, nothing but facts, literally college football all day, all long. Like, trust me, you guys will love it. God bless you all. Have a great night.